Please. Maseches Bava Kama Daf Membeis Amud Beis in the two dots towards the bottom of the page. Tonu Abonon. Before we continue, I have to fill in on something yesterday that we said yesterday. Machlokes Rishonim. What happens if a tam doesn't pay koifer? Well, he doesn't, right? A tam doesn't pay koifer, doesn't pay vlodois, right? So, and he doesn't pay the shloshim shel eved. So Tosfos says when he doesn't pay the shloshim shel eved, it doesn't mean that he's completely scot-free, doesn't pay anything. He pays the value of the eved, just like regular nezek. Because some Rishonim believe that even if the shol tam injured someone to death and he killed him, well, death is a type of injury. So even if you don't have the special shloshim shel eved of the Torah, which is like a set amount, a fixed amount, you still consider to be a shoah mazik. And as such, he would have to pay, maybe only half, but he's not going completely free. He pays for the value of the eved and not for the fixed shloshim. And later on, we'll see something even more fascinating on the same accord. So because Baruch was very concerned that sometimes people get off the hook, right? The shol tam doesn't pay anything. And let's say the Bailim shechted him quickly on time before the psak din, then the shor is not dead and the money is not given. Oh, so some Rishonim are on your side, justice seeker, and they would say, no, you don't have to pay the shloshim, but you still pay the amount of money because that's like damage. Just like if it damage your table, they have to pay for the table, or half the nezek if it's tam. So too, you'd have to pay for the eved's worth or half of it. Tono abonun. No, that's all thing. Shloshim is knas because it's a fixed amount. The knas is not there, but maybe right instead of knas, right away surges up the regular payment. Because, well, death is kind of a damage, you know. So you anyhow pay for damages. If you killed my eved, pay for the damage. We'll soon see later on today in Tosfos something even wilder on the same account. Ton Rabbanon. These are Tanaim talking. Vehemis isha. All of a sudden, the Torah tells us that twice it says that if a show gored a man or a woman, and then it says if he killed a man or a woman, then he has to pay koifer for killing a man or a woman. Usually, the Torah doesn't really talk like 2021. Everything is to be male, female. You know, in Hebrew, it's a big problem. Yeah, the Torah doesn't usually address both genders mefurash and says he or she, right? So it says mainly he. It doesn't say lo sirtzach v'lo sirtzachi, or like with a slash and then yud, like in Hebrew. What is it coming to teach us? If the Torah refers to men and women separately and this mentions them separately, what is it coming to teach us? If it's coming to tell you that if you gored a woman, then the shor is chayev as if you gored a man, there is equality over here, egalitarian. Well, maybe, but then it's already redundant because it already says in the previous pasuk. Before that, ki gachsho es isha. So even if you go along with the necessity to mention men and women, what's already mentioned once. How many times do you have to say in the same parsha, one time after the other, isha? What is it coming to tell me again and again that a woman that was gored, you have to pay koifel? What's the deal? Ella explains Rabbi Akiva, lehakish isha leish. It's coming to compare isha, a woman, to a man. In what sense? Ma'ish, and now we're talking about Yerusha. From now till the first half of this year, the entire year will be a very good chazara on Baba Ba'ara 8th Perek. Yesh Noichlin, all about inheritance. And what does it say there? Ma'ish nizokov liyoshov, just like a man, if, let's say, somebody injures a man. Now, we're not saying whether it's injury or real death, which is koifer. Let's talk general. Let's say the man was dead, to make it simpler. A man died. When I keep talking about the family of the victim, they get the money. Who is the family? Uncle Joe or Auntie Rita? Who's getting the exactly? The direct Yerush. Who is that in the case of a man? The kinderlach, the zisa kinderlach, the sons, very good if there are no sons, and the daughter, if not, then the father, not the brother, blah, blah, blah. Let's assume it's the sons. If sa ma ish nezokov liyoshov, just like the man, automatically there's no other choice, it goes to the yoshim and not to his wife. You know why? Because when man dies, unless it's specified otherwise, a man does not bequeath, is not moirish to his wife. A woman does not get Yerusha from her husband. She gets ksuba, she gets a lot of other monies. Don't worry about her. But she doesn't get Yerusha. The Yerusha is a direct thing. When he closes his eyes and he didn't make a will, automatically she's not the Yoreshes. Yeah, there are psukim all over Bava Basra, from Kuf Yud all the way to Kuf Lamed over there, all the droshes. A woman is not Yoreshem and she doesn't get from the husband. So just like a man, we all know that's like an axiom, that's a known thing. Who gets the Nizikin or any other money from the dead guy is Yoshim, like the children. Af Ishan is a Yosheo. That's a Chiddush. A woman who's been injured or died, so her Nizikin go to her Yoshim, would be her children and not to her husband. And that's a Chiddush. Because, usually, as we're going to see soon, a woman usually does, it's not egalitarian. When a woman dies and a husband survived her, he does get her money, as we'll see soon why. So Lamaisir, it's a Chiddush. When it comes to Nezikin, from some reason, which we'll see soon, a woman who died, and now she, so to speak, so deserves a Nezikin, the Koifer, let's talk about Koifer, then those who Yashin are not her children, who are her natural heirs, no. The one who gets her is what? Excuse me, no, not the husband was her first heir, but the children. Frag the Gemara, why is that? Is that like a general idea that Rabbi Akiva wants to learn from here to Kol Torah Kula? Would you say that in all cases, is that like a general rule? Unlike Akiva Tachtel just told you, does Rabbi Akiva think first wide line that the husband does not Yarit, doesn't get his wife's money? Is that so? Batanya. It says in the Brisa, the Yorash Oiso, it says he, Yorash Oiso, he inherits her. Mikan, Shabal, Yorash Ishto, Divra Rabbi Akiva. Outright, Rabbi Akiva says, he learns from the Psukim over there, it says She'eroi. She'eroi means She'er Boso, the one close to him, his flesh. Your wife and you become one flesh, and therefore the Baal Yoresh Rabbi Akiva. Oh, so you see that Rabbi Akiva, generally speaking, let's say the woman was not injured. The woman made a lot of money because she's a top-notch lawyer. So now who gets all her money when she dies? Top-notch lawyer has a few millions in the bank. Where is it? Well, it goes to the husband, says Rabbi Akiva. So what's the story over here about Nezikin? What's the logic of the Torah? Then Nezikin should be different. Omar Ishlakish, Ishlakish says, Lo Omar Ela Bekoifer. Rabbi Akiva only specifically, in a very narrow way, only spoke about Koifer. Not on Nezikin even, only Koifer. When a woman died, and then, why did she die? Because the bulldog bit her. That would be today, or the Amstaff bit her neck and she died, or a shore gored her, right? Then, somebody has to pay her. Well, she's kind of dead. You can't really pay her. So then by Koifer, we say that who gets the money? Well, then we say that the Yoshim get the money and not the husband. Why? Says the Gemara, because because koifer, by definition, by its nature, is something that the person is owed only after his death, only after he or she are dead, right? You don't pay koifer to a live person. Even when she's dying and she's about to die, Rashi's Akmiram is like, there's nothing to do with anything before, she has no claim whatsoever before she's dead. So because this is kind of money that comes to her after her death, that's why the husband doesn't get the money. Why? V'havelei ro'ui. This is a very, very famous, well-known term. That's good chazorah for Bava Basra. Ro'ui means money that is, in English, it's called potential. Yeah, I don't know the quality on scrollies, and I don't care. Avele Roi, which means money that only comes to the person after his death, and that can happen many, many times in many different versions and variations in Bava Basra. For example, here, the woman had absolutely no connection to the money of what? Of the koifer when she was alive. As long as she's alive, there's no koifer. Koifer is paid for post-mortem, post-death compensation, to call it in a goyish way. It's Roi. Bam, ba, bam, ba, bam, punchline. Aha, very good. The Baal does not take beroi ke b'muchzak. Okay, the Baal doesn't get roi ke b'muchzak, which means, I don't know if you remember, well, I'll test you a little bit. Haha. What happens when a person dies? Who gets a pishnaim? Who gets double? We all know. So, very good. A note, the vibe, the Rebbetzin. Question is, let's say the Yesoimim, let's say the father, a day before his death, he went to the lottery ticket, how do you call it, the station, the stand over there, the Mifal Apais. He did the thing, took a shekel, and for 10 shekels, I don't know, 50 shekels, he scratched the thing, and then he died. So excited, he died. You didn't know if he won or not. A week after his death, there's a grolo, then, and they go online or they get a letter, I don't know how it works, and the father gained after his death 10 million shekels. That's cool. Yeah, that's nice. So they wiped their tears. What? The money, not the death. So now that's called roi. That was potential money. It was not money that when he died, he already had in his hands. It was potential money. He did start because of scratching and buying the ticket, which eventually one was before his death. That's called roi. That's potential money that may or may not have come, and at the end came. In that kind of money, the bechor does not get double. Why? Because it says in the Torah, "B'chol asher yimotze loi." Anything yimotze, anything that's found in his possession, the b'chol gets pishnaim. Don't let me confuse you. We're not talking about a b'chol, but apparently the same halacha about b'chol applies to a husband. Why? Because of psukim there in the Novi, there's a story in the Novi about a man called Seguv. His son was Yair, and Yair is the one who inherited his mother, and the father didn't. How come the father didn't and the son did? Because it was potential land which she owned potentially, and she was only Yoreshit after her death. That can also happen. Let's say father dies, yeah? The father is a regular guy, and after the father's death, the rich Zaidi from America, then he dies. So the father only inherited after his death. The grandchildren now get new money that came to the father after his death, right? That's exactly the story there. Forget about the children. Let's talk about the husband. A husband does not get potential money that only came to his wife after her petira. Aha. And therefore what? And therefore this is exactly the case of koifer. Very good, right? Because that's exactly koifer. What's koifer? As long as she's alive, even very, very sick, there's no koifer. Don't even talk about koifer, nothing to do. Only after her death, the koifer came to her pocket, but it's kind of, you're not going to put dollar bills in the grave, I don't think, yeah? So that money that she gained after her death, that money does not go to the husband, because potential gain, potential money that eventually came after the death, that the husband doesn't get, just like the firstborn doesn't get pishnaim. Why? The story there is Yair. Yair was the son of Seguv. Seguv, there was a plot of land that Yair inherited and not Seguv. How could that be? How can a son inherit before his father? The father is like a bottleneck before him. Answers the Gemara very simply. There was a woman in the story. There's a woman in the plot. Who is the woman? The mother of Yair, which is the wife of Seguv. She was moirish something, that only after her death she gained that piece of land. So the husband doesn't get it because it's potential, but the son does. That's exactly what happens here. The children of the women, they get money, potential, not potential. They get any money that the mother has before or after death, and that's koifer. In case of koifer, we say that the mother gets the mother is moirish, bequeaths the money to her children, the koifer money to her children, and not to the husband, because potential money doesn't go to the husband, it goes to the Zise Kinderlach.
In reality, how does that work to their life insurance? Because you get the money after your death.
Okay, weiter. We're my time. We're going to see many more cases of Roy. Okay. I forgive you for not. Okay, my time. Okay, good. We'll discuss that later. My time. What's the reason? Yeah, my time. Really, the Gemara now asks the question: why are you telling me that koifer is only paid after the death? Maybe once a woman is mamish terminally ill, the show gored her, I don't want to use bad language, ripped her apart, yeah? The woman, and she's in hospital, mamish, intensive care, shein kamoyu, about to die. So maybe you're going to tell me at that point they can already claim the money. Maybe it's money because they say, listen, all the doctors in the world, and even the biggest, went to the biggest Rabbonim Kubolim, went to the Baal Shem Tov. She's for sure going to die. Maybe already then she's owed the money. Yeah, so maybe the money is already before the death because we know it's going to happen. So maybe the money is not the potential thing that only came post-mortem. Maybe it's before the death. והימיסי, או דגמור, והימיסי שאישה, אשר יסוקל וגם באולוב יומוס, in koifer yushas olov, which means, yeah, says the Gemara, no, the show is not, the show for sure only gets skila after the death. That's for sure, right? It says, hey, misi shoisha, the show gets skila. Show for sure gets skila only after the death. That's not a question, because it says so in the Torah. Even if she's she's 99%, lamhaba, lo mashane. Hey, misi shoisha, did you hear me? Hey, misi killed isha isha, then isokel. And then right away continues koifer. There's a hekesh between the show's death and the money given to her, just like the show only dies after she is for sure dead. That screen over the dead person's bed, the dying person goes flat. The EKG, whatever that is, yeah, flat line. Okay, thank you for teaching me the right term. Not funny, but I've witnessed it myself, unfortunately. With it's not with myself, with other people. Flat line, and then only then the show gets skila. So too, only then the koifer goes to her pocket. Well, her pocket is a few feet under the ground, and then the ones who get it are the kinderlach and not the husband, because money that comes to the woman after death does not go to the husband, goes to the children. So far, so good and beautiful. Okay. Frag the Heilige Gemara, frag the Gemara 3 lines from the bottom of the page, MBA, it's MBA, MBB. Well, the money comes to the woman after she's dead, because we say koifer is a chiyuv only after the person is properly dead. Okay, nice. So when she was alive, she had no connection to this money whatsoever, right? Money that she did not have before her death and only gained after her death, similar to the lottery ticket, even more than lottery ticket or new inheritance, does not go to the husband. That's it. It goes to the Yoshim, her children or her brothers or other people, whoever, not the husband. Okay? Why? That's exactly the cost. Beseder? That's what Rabbi Kiva is saying? That's what Rabbi Kiva is saying. So far, everything's nice. I'm welcoming questions now. Yes, Jeffrey. I can see something is bothering you. No problem. I'll repeat it as many times as you want time. Thank you. Very good. 30 lines from the bottom of the page. Let's say it was regular damage, because Rabbi Kiva, by the way, spoke about, v'hemisi sha'isha. Is he only talking about in case when they died? Benezikin loy omar Rabbi Akiva. In other words, the question is as follows. Let's say the woman was damaged and survived. The show gored her and punched her in the, not punched her, gored her, or I don't know, the chimpanzee punched her, I don't know, an animal punched her, hit her, and she survived. But she still gets nezek, okay? She gets nezek. She deserves nezek right now. And then afterwards she died, maybe even unrelated to the story. She was what? Lav dafka. It's not koifer. He didn't kill her. Stam, he hit the woman, he gored the woman, could be even she recovered. But Lamaisa, then she died, and then the money of the Nezikin supposed to come to her. What would be the halacha then? The Nezikin loy omar Rabbi Akiva. Let's say it's regular Nezikin. Nezikin money that is owed to her. There's money of Nezikin that is owed to her, for sure. She made a claim to Beis Din. Beis Din knows, Enochinamish, Prince Abela deserves, because he hit her nose, she needs a nose job now, another nose job. Yeah, so then what? So then, okay, then we say the money, where does the money go? In Nezikin, which is money which was owed to her beforehand. Do we not say that it goes to the children? There, Rabbi Kiva doesn't say it. He only says it by koifer, because koifer is post-mortem, and regular Nezikin, which are nothing to do with death. Stam, he punched her nose a year before she died. Then we don't say that. Then we say that it goes to the husband. Yeah, Rabbi Kiva is mechadish that only koifer, the way we understand it, goes to the children, because koifer is after the death. But Nezikin, that is before the death, stam, nothing to do with the death. She didn't die because he hit her nose. Yeah, she still owed Nezikin. Yeah, so then what? Do we say that money, what, would go to, yes, would go to the husband? The Tanya, okay, yeah. I can see your faces a bit.
I think there's 2 parts. There's the Nezikin compensation,
yeah,
and then there's the post-mortem.
Here there's no post-mortem. She didn't die because of the show. In our case over here, she died out of a heart attack, car accident, lokashu, old age. She's owed Nezikin separately. She has 2 separate cheshbonos. She's owed because he punched her in the nose a year ago. Been a long court case. Finally, we know that she's really owed the money by the show's family owner. Now, Blikeshel, she died. Who gets the money? who gets the money that she's owed? Yeah, and now they're about to come and actually pay her. Oh, she's dead. Who are they paying? Who shall I make the check out to? Says the owner of the show. But he owes it to her way before she died. And then does the husband get it or the kinderlach get it? Yeah. Are you telling me Ben Ezekiel he wouldn't say it? Are you telling me Ben Ezekiel it goes back to the regular rule of what? Of really her moirishit to the husband? Rabbi Kiva's mechadish that sometimes a woman is moirish to the children. Like koifer makes sense because it's potential money. So the husband doesn't get, only the children. What would he say about Nezikin? Let's see. Yeah.
But what's the haba mean? Why would you think?
Oh, that.
Why would you think
The by Nezikin.
the Nezikin, it's the husband wouldn't?
Tanya, very good. You are very, it's a chov. You're very ready to the next line. Why would I think otherwise? Because of the brisa. Otherwise, Tanya, very nice. It says in the brisa, Hika isha. Yeah, a man. The same case we've seen before. It's a case in the Torah. Hika isha. He how do you say smote? Whatever. He hit a woman. Smote in the pen. Smote. He smote. I read a lot. He struck. That's simple English. Don't like it. Yeah, I like art scrollies. Yeah, he smote the woman. Yeah, say it to your what? Yeah, it's true. Say it to the 3-year-old in Brooklyn for sure. They'll understand it. Ika Saisha, right? Very faulty. Ika Saisha, he hit the woman and the children, meaning the unborn children, the fetus, the embryo, whatever you want to call it. The Uber went out. Then, in other words, she miscarried. So now Ellen, your case is now. You mentioned it yesterday when the kids died, Lolenu, the unborn child, you aborted him, and besides that, she's also injured herself. Yeah, you punch her in the stomach, she's not exactly happy about it, right? So now there are two types of nezikin that he has to pay. He has to pay for the abortion. Unfortunately, today women pay to have abortion, Rahman Litzlan. Here, you have to pay her for aborting her baby. Yeah. So the kids came out. There's also what? There's also the nezik to her. You injured her as a person. Noise nezik v'tzar leisha. The nezik v'tzar, the nezik that she's now worth less. Her own value is worth less because the stomach is injured. She can't work properly now in picking the tomatoes. Her stomach is damaged now. Blikeshel to the child, and it's also painful. Lamaitz Tosis points out that the other that goes to the women. Those nizikin go straight to the woman, not her husband. It's one of those cases where the woman gets directly. She gets its own personal nezik because its own personal body. A woman owns her own body. Psh, the Gemara is so progressive. Yeah, so the nezik puts out to the woman. Okay, very good. Tosis points out, I don't want to break the line of thought here. Tosis asks, what about boishes? What about other things? What about ripui? So Tosis says, ripui and sheves she doesn't get. Medical expenses and days off work she doesn't get because that would happen even if she gave birth. Yeah, in other words, you get what I'm saying? In other words, the fact that babies are out early, that doesn't make a difference. Yeah? And Boishes, what is this to say about Boishes? He says, because he didn't want to do it to her, right? He meant to hit another man. That was the case in the Torah. He wanted to punch his friend in the nose, and she came in the middle. So Boishes, by mistake, is not a Boishes. You only have embarrassment if you meant to embarrass one person. Let's leave that on the side because it's not the main issue. But Kitzer, the body injuries go to the woman. The dmei vlodois labal. Oh, and who gets the dmei vlodois? The husband. She's alive. They're both alive, the couple. Now the Baal, he's killed the owner of the babies, so to speak. So the actual value, the babies are dealt with here like money, like a monetary thing. They're not yet human beings that are alive. And therefore, the money that the children are worth, the unborn child is worth, that goes to the husband. So far, so good, or not so good. Now, continues the Brisa. Ein habal, comma, very misleading text over here. Ein habal, there is no husband because he died. After that whole story of the injury of punching her in the stomach, the husband, so mitzvah, got a heart attack. Noisen layolshov. If the husband is not there, who shall I make the check out to for killing the babies? Says the killer so nicely. And we say, give it to the husband's children, to the husband's side. Okay, Eina Isha, let's say the woman already died. Now comes red alert. Eina Isha, the woman is not there to receive her nizikin. Again, she was punched in the stomach and nothing to do with the babies now. She deserves nizikin. Yeah, stam. You hurt a person, a man, woman, you have to pay her directly. She's not around because she died. Not, she didn't die because of you punching. She died. She died because she got a heart attack, because she, I don't know what, she heard bad news. I don't know. The soccer team lost. And Aisha, Noisen, the version here is not Noisen, it's Noisen leyoshea. You give it to her children. Upa. So you see it by Nezikin. She's owed the Nezikin already before, and yet we see there's not potential money. You skip the husband and you give it to her children.
The husband is dead.
No. It's two different cases. Eina Isha or Eina Isha. There's no. It's either or. It's two separate cases. The woman is dead. The woman who's owed Nezikin, forget about everybody else. She's owed Nezikin personally, yes. Whereas she died, I don't know, she died because of any other reason. And then what? Corona, she died of Corona. And then who gets the money now instead of her? Of Nezikin, not Koifer Tzvi. Who gets it? The Kinderlach and not the husband. Why? Here, it's not potential money. This is real money. It's mamsh owed to her. It was been decided already that it's owed to her before she died. This is not airy-fairy castles in the air that may come later, like the koifer. That's real thing that's owed to her before she died. So that's already a question, right, on Rabbi Akiva. Yeah, l'choira, even Ezekin, from some reason, we see that, yeah, the children get an Ezekin and not the husband, even though that's real money.
It's not a question. It's siyata.
No. But Ezekin, lo ema Rabbi Akiva. We're asking, didn't Rabbi Akiva say it in Ezekin? In other words, we assume Rabbi Akiva would say it in Ezekin.
I thought you said he would say Rabbi Akiva. We're also saying
Rabbi Akiva didn't say anything clear, by the way. All Rabbi Akiva said was that Ma'ishne Zokov Leoshav, Ishne Zoker Leoshav. We don't know what kind of Nezikin he spoke about. Rabbi Akiva was ambiguous. He says Nezikin. We're now dealing with Rabbi Akiva. Did he talk about Koifer only? And that makes sense to us, because we know Koifer is potential money that comes after that, and only after that. Makes sense the husband doesn't get it. But what about Nezikin? Nezikin, Rabbi Akiva wouldn't say it. From some odd reason, we see a brisa. Although Nezikin is real money that's already owed to her before, and we know 100% she's going to get it, and yet we say that it goes to the Yoshim and not to the husband, and that's difficult. Really, why? Well, what's this for? Like you're asking. Let's just continue the brisa to just finish off, and then we can elaborate more, and we'll start today's Amud. Continues the brisa, just more interesting cases. Let's say she was a shifcha, and she then was freed, okay, by her master, and she was married. We can turn to Mem Gimel Aleph, and she was married to another Eved Meshucha in the Agefen, bin the Agefen. Two free slaves got married. A lot of American culture has it. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, she is a mishucha, he's a mishucha. Then what? They got married. Mazel tov. She's pregnant, and somebody hit her. Now, do they have any relatives in this world? Let's say they have no children. The only potential children died. Who are their yoshim?
Previous owner?
What?
Previous owner?
No, he's previous. He's not the owner anymore. They left the plantation. They ran away to Detroit, all the way from Virginia. No, seriously. Hefker, and the winner is Peretz. I gotta have a talk with Rebbe. Ogi Oires, Nichser Ger, Boisai. Ogi Oires, she was a Mackenzie, now she's a McCohen. And he was McLean. Yeah, in other words, two Gerim got married, they have no children. Who's the Yoshim? And they both died. Now, let's say in this case, they both died. Yeah, in this case, yeah. Then, Zocholoi. Yeah, Dreitemul, Zocholoi. Who gets it? The one supposed to pay the Nezik. He hit the Gioiris, and now she died, he died, everyone died. There's no Yoshim. Ger that died, there's no Yoshim. So who gets it? It stays, but the Mazik. I'm sorry, Baruch. You may not like it, but that's lucky man. In any event, the question is, as we said before, why are you telling me now that the children are getting the money of the Nezikin? L'choira, here the husband should get it. It's not potential money. That's a real check waiting for her to get, and then she died. Amar Rabba. Rabba has a simple, sticky solution. Begrusha. After the incident, yeah, he hit her in the stomach, and now they got divorced. Says Rabba, there is no husband. Gerusha and Gorush, nothing to do with each other, monetarily speaking. Therefore, really, the husband should be Yorusher. Really, the husband should really Yarshan her because it's real money and not potential money. Oh, Bazai, we're making an okimta here that she's divorced. If she's divorced and no husband around, he's her XXX. Memela what? Now she has children, the children get it. Very simple. 1 second, please. Remember the names. Rabba and Rav Nachman are the ones who make an ukimta that it's grusha. I prefer no questions for this for the next minute. Amri says, Gemara, wait a second, there's no husband around, you're saying? The husband, that's it, divorced, move to a different city? Gerusha nami, gerusha too, tiflok b'dmei vlodos. Wait a second, haha. If you're telling me that she's divorced, if so, she should also get the dmei vlodos. She should share with him the money of the vlodos. Why is the ex-husband getting the money of the babies? He's not her husband anymore. The Rishonim go, why are you saying she should share with him? He should only go to her. She's divorced already, separate entity, and therefore machpatli from her ex-husband, you're completely irrelevant to her. And therefore, when he punched the stomach, she should get also the babies. Only she should get the baby's money. What?
Where the baby's from?
From him.
From the divorced guy?
Yes.
He still has a hold. He has a foothold.
I'd like to send a note to your wife and say you're right, but we need a proof for that. In the Havamim, you're in the right direction, but Lamaisa, right now, monetarily speaking, mitzad the money, a good one, mitzad the money, they're two separate monetary entities. They've done, they divorced and they dealt with everything, separate entities, financially no kesher. So now why should she get money that's owed to her? It's her babies. Oh, right? Now the Rishonim say, it doesn't mean she should split with him. Tiflug means sometimes. Sometimes she gets everything, i.e. when she's divorced. Why is the husband to do with the money of the babies? It's hers. Omar Pope, like Baruch, but with a pasuk, very nice, 10 points. Omar Pope, ator zochto dmei vlodos labal, afilu baalei biznus, ay. When the Baal, the Torah gave the Dmei Vlodos, granted the money of the baby that was hit and died, of the aborted baby, even if it was nus, if it was a promiscuous relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, one night, something, whatever, I don't want to use bad words, Stam znus is not a husband bichlal. He still gets the money. Why? My time, Why is that? Omar Kro, kasher yoshis olav Baal ha'isha. Baal is Loshen Boel. That's not the same, but it's a remez. Baal is husband. Boel is the one that has relations, legally or illegally. Therefore, there's a special pasuk here to tell me what you're saying. It's the biological father, regardless whether he was her husband, was never her husband, is her ex, is her shmeks, whatever you want. Lo mishaneh. Be'etzem, the biological father of the babies, he gets the money regardless of his relationship with the woman. That's just an aside. Tosfos points out an interesting thing. The second Tosfos, we're doing a lot of Tosfosim today, says Tosfos in the second one, what would be if a man had relations with his sister or his mother? Mr. That's the next parade. Other deviations are not exciting anymore. So let's say brother and sister. Oh, that's more advanced. Brother and sister, they were together, and she's pregnant from the brother. Would the brother get, and then somebody hit her in the stomach? I don't blame him, whatever. And she aborted. And then what? And then the brother, does he get the money? It says no. It says Baal. Baal means anybody that potentially can be your husband. But if somebody, brother and sister, they can never be husband and wife. Even if it says with a ring and edim, the kiddushin just don't catch, don't hold, don't apply. Because chai v'krisus, the kiddushin by them doesn't help. Therefore, such a case, it would be completely out of the box, out of the thing, you wouldn't get the money. But if it's not boyfriend, girlfriend from the high school, or even ex-husband and his ex-wife, they could be married, and actually they were, so then the husband gets the money. But Lemaisa, let's not, because that was just like a tangential thing of the Gemara. I'll be with you in a second, Jeffrey, and anybody else. Soon it's time for questions. Let's just summarize. Let's summarize. What did we say? Rabbi Akiva came with this interesting statement that a wife that was damaged, the ones who get the money is not the husband, which is a natural heir, the first great heir. No, here it's the children. Zog the Gemara, what are you talking about? Koifel makes sense. Koifer makes a lot of sense because Koifer she gets only after her death. Husbands don't get wives' money after the wife's death if it only came to the wife's possession after that. Very nice. What about Nezikin? All of a sudden we see a strange brisa here about Nezikin. Nezikin, when she did not die right away, she's owed money of the injury, like she's owed money by people she lent money to. She's owed money, which is really clearly, solidly owed to her. And that should go, she got it after the death, but that is not potential money. And therefore what? The choira, who should get it? The husband. And yet you see that the children get it, her other children get it. What's going on? Says the Gemara, you're right. There's no other choice. We must make an ukimta. She's a grusha. There is no husband around. Yeah, they were married. Now she's divorced. He's not part of her life anymore, financially or otherwise. And therefore, what? In that case, a Yoshim get, but enachnami. If she would be married, had she stayed married after the punch in the stomach, yeah, enachinami, the husband would be the one to get it. Why? Because it's real money. That's muchzak, not roy, money in her hands. And therefore, the husband enachnam would yarshen her. And who are the ones saying it? Rabba and Rav Nachman Uman. Yes, question time. And then we continue. Yeah, there are two types. Before we continue, the Gemara is saying there are two types of roy. There's roy that's completely potential, legamre, whole new money. Like somebody died in her family after death, it started completely after a death, or koifel. That's what we say. Koifel kilo, something completely new from after a death. And then we say there is money that's new, but came as a result of before. Let's talk about stock market. Yes, she had a company, she had stocks in the company, and after her death, all of a sudden, she was smart. Before Corona, she invested in Zoom. I don't know how many dollars was one stock, not so much. After Corona, wow, but she died out of Corona. So now all the stock market, whatever, increase in value is something new, but not completely new. It's like fruit that grew on a tree. So that is a roi, which is a machloikes between Rebbe and Rabbanon. We'll keep that on the side, minimize the window, and let's continue. Frag the Gemara. The Nukma, why does Rabbi and Rav Nachman, dafka those two, why do they have to make such a nukimta to explain why the children get and the husband doesn't get the money owed to her by the mazik? Now, a punch in the stomach, and then what? The mazik owes her money, and it goes to the children. Why not to the husband? There is no husband. Why do you have to make such a nukimta? I'll give you a better answer, like Ellen. The nukma l'Rabba. Why shouldn't Rabba explain kigon shegovu mois? Why can't Rabba say that you know how the children of the dead woman who was eventually injured, you know how they got the money or they collected it with cash? What does that have to do with anything? I'll explain to you soon. Rav Nachman, kigon shegovu karka. According to Rav Nachman, let's say that the money owed to her was collected in the form of land, a piece of land. If that sounds like Chinese to you, you just have to listen to the next few lines of the Gemara. The Omer Rabba says Rabba about the firstborn, and it's the same thing about a woman. What happens when a person, I'll give you another small introduction. A person is owed money. From experience, when a person is owed money, doesn't mean that he's going to get it straight away, right?
It's not in the bank.
It's not in the bank and it's not in his bank. And the guy told me, yeah, for sure, I'm doing it today. It's been already months from today that he owes me money. No, that's not the place to talk about it. In other words, when you owed money, is that really in your pocket? Sort of, not legamre. It's not new money, but it's not in your pocket either. It's a gray area between ro'i and muchzak, which is in your hands. It wasn't in her hands when she died. The money owed to her by who? By the mazik was not in the bank account, Bank Leumi, Prince Abela. It wasn't yet there. Machlokes Rabba and Rav Nachman, which we have seen together in Bava Basra. Let's say the money came after the money, the Baal Choiv, the one who owes money, in this case the mazik, he did pay after her death. He came to the Shiva, felt bad, and then he paid. The question is, how did he pay it? Says Rabba, Govu karka, yesh loy. Let's say the children eventually, after the death of the woman, they collected it in the form of karka, of land. A piece of land, listen carefully because now that's a crescendo. According to Rabba, a piece of land collected is not considered ro'ui, it's considered muchzak. Land is nadlan, nichse de lo naidi. It's called nechosim shesh lamachrais. Lands usually don't move around unless it's Muhammad. A land is something very reliable and very secure. Therefore, when the woman lent money, or in this case was injured, she knows, the guy has a piece of land, I rely on the piece of land. I rely on a piece of land that the loive has, we know we can force him. The land is not going to run away anywhere. Bezin will put some kind of, what's the name of it? No, prohibition on it. Will freeze it, a lien on it, and that's it. Eventually, that's considered muchzak. Even though it's not in her bank account, only came after death, but karka is strong, solid, secure, and therefore it's considered as muchzak. Very good. 1 minute. Soon we'll get everything together. Govu mois enloi. But if she or a man with a firstborn, if they collected mois, cash, money is not really something that your mind is set on. You know why? Because you lent him, I don't know, $1,000. He's not going to give you back the same thousand. Milve loitzo nitna. Right? You give someone money, he's going to use it. There's going to be other money. The land is the same piece of land that he always had. When I lent him money, he had that piece of land, one specific apartment in wherever in Haifa. The same piece of land is always there. That's considered as being muhzak through and through. That's not considered potential money. Money, cash, is new money. In other words, the money that now the one owes money, that owed money to the dead person, to the deceased, when he comes with cash, that's new cash. It's not the same cash that they lent. That's new cash that he now withdrew for the ATM machine. That new cash is considered as roi, potential. Mimelo, the Gemara is now attacking Rabbah. Why, Rabbah, do you have to tell me that story of what? Of the husband is dead? No, you can make a much more delicious lom de sateritz and tell me what? Really, the husband is alive. But you know why the husband doesn't get it? Because you know what they gave him? They gave him mois. Because after her death, the one that punched her in the stomach came and gave her money. Money is something new. Money is not karka. Money is a whole new thing. Because it's a new thing, that's why the husband doesn't get it, Ellen. Not exactly what you're saying, because we don't know how much. We know how much. But because he's paying with cash, and cash is always new cash, it's not the same cash that was there before, the mail is considered to be a new thing that she got. That's why the husband doesn't get it, because that falls to the same rule of husband not getting new money. The Rav Nachman Omar just the opposite. Rav Nachman says just the opposite. Omar govu mois yeshlo govu karka enloi. Says Rav Nachman, no. On the contrary, when the Baal Choiv comes to the Shiva house, tears in his eyes, and he says, "Okay, now I'm paying my debt to the dead guy or the dead woman." If he pays with money, with cash, that's considered muhzak. Why? Although money is less secure, but money is what you had in mind. When you lend your friend $100,000, I wish I have this money, everybody, then you're not expecting to get back a piece of land from Haifa. What is the land of Haifa? I need cash. The land is Haifa is second best. He's a bench player. It's not what I had my mind on. In other words, it's true that the land is more secure and money is more movable, zuzim, the move around, zaz, but Lamaisa, that's what I had in mind. What I had in mind, my idea all along was to get money, get money. Give money, get money. The land, is giving me land. Okay, that's like second best. It's not what's really called muhzak, it's roi. It's potential. Very nice machlokas of Nachman and Rabbah. What do you call muhzak? The thing that's really more safe and secure in reality, which is land, or is it the thing that I had in mind to get? That's a deal between us, and I'm getting back old money. It's true, it's not the same notes, but it's the same kind of thing. Not a new thing of karka, but then according to Rav Nachman, very good, you can make a case. Since Rav Nachman used karka is something new, what is Rav Nachman talk about? Grusha, no divorce. Why divorce? Say pashut. According to Rav Nachman, he could have said very nicely that the punched her in the stomach, then she died, if nothing to do with that, and then what? And then came the puncher and gave her a piece of land. She's dead already. A piece of land, oh, that's a new thing. A piece of land is not what was expected. That's called roi. And that's what the husband who's married to her in life, he doesn't get it because it's roi. In general speaking, the general question against Nachman and Rabbah, why do you people, why do you have to make such an ukim that she got divorced? Say simple. It's true that money is owed to her, but listen to this next line. Money owed is potential. Either karka or mois. Money that's not in her pocket, befnim, in the bank account, but will come to her, either karka or mois, is also called potential. So that's another poshut reason to say that the husband doesn't get it. Who gets it? The zisa kinderlach, the yorshim. So why do Rabbi and Nachman have to do twist in the ears instead of saying the simple thing which he himself said? That's what I told you to remember the name. The same Rabbi and Nachman, or the same Amoraim, will actually tell me, one second, that potential gain is that halva, the getting back a loan is not secure, is sometimes potential. So why didn't you hear they have to make up new cases? Answers the Gemara, and we have to let me finish now. Amri answers the Gemara. Rabba and Rav Nachman, you know who they spoke? They did not really believe what they were saying. They were saying this according to Bnei Eretz Yisrael, according to Rabbanon, which means Rabbanon are the ones who say that anything that's not completely in your hands, chazak, chazak, anything that smells like roi, anything that's partially potential, what did I tell you before? Now comes what I told you before. Some potentials are not completely out of the blue. Some potential things they grow naturally. She had a tree, and the fruit came. She had stocks in Zoom, and the stocks grew. That's not complete potential. It's something new that's based on the old. Rabbanan say no. That's also called roi. So Rabbanan say unless it's in your hands, that's not called muchzak. It's called roi, and that's how Rabbi and Rav Nachman spoke according to them. Now that they're talking stam, they're explaining according to Marava. But kikami hocha kerebi. Rebbe argued on all that. Rebbe says, you know what's called roi? Only roi that's completely new. A whole new money that was never expected. Oh, pitzuim. Pitzuim, compensation money in the beautiful state of you know where. Yeah, there was absolutely zero potential to get the compensation from 20 years ago. You hear all these Ashgacha Prati stories, and after her death, wow, pitzuim from somewhere came, absolutely new money, not expected b'chlal. Then says Rebbe that the husband doesn't get it. But if there's anything that still connects before that and after that, such as a loan, as insecure as loan may be, it's not completely new. So Rebbe says the husband would get it. So according to Rebbe, what's the only way the husband shouldn't get money that's owed to his wife and he's partially potentially there? Only if he's divorced. Only when he got divorced, then there's no money for him because he's not a husband anymore. Okay, so very good. Let's summarize. Rabbi and Rav Nachman said the follows. When Rabbi and Rav Nachman said that, thank you for your patience, by the way. When Rabbi and Rav Nachman said that the husband is divorced, they spoke according to Rebbe. Because according to Rebbe, Ellen, even money that's potentially potential, that's somewhere connected to the dead person before the death, that's already considered, yes, the husband's. Because that's but so therefore, any kind of money owed to her, whether with money, with karka, with cash, as long as there's some connection to her before the death, the husband would get it. So why doesn't the husband get it here? Because he divorced. And according to those who argue on Rebbe, to the Eretz Yisrael, other one, Rebbe was also Eretz Yisrael, but the other Bnei Marov, the other Bnei Eretz Yisrael, they say no. They say anything, sometimes there's a gray area. Potential, depends. If something was partially hers but not fully hers, we can sometimes call it roi and the husband doesn't get. So then in Echanami, we could have answered that the money came after the death in the form of land or in the form of cash. There was kilu a new kind of old money. It's something partially new, and in that the husband doesn't get, even if he stays married happily ever after. Although she died eventually. No, I think he was. No, he was first. Sorry. I'm not getting into your issues. Yes, Yosef. You want to say something, or am I wrong? You forgot what you want to say? Yeah, go ahead. So say it.
I want to know when the Yerusha